Yo, what is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to episode 5 or episode 6, I believe, of Rogue to High Rated, a series of mine where I go over and analyze my matches on my journey to top 200 on Dueling Book with only Rogue decks. And my current deck of choice is Speedroids, as you guys already know. And in this episode, we're actually going to be playing against a Synchron deck, and my opponent gets a little salty towards the end, you know, kind of funny. We'll see that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and hop right into the match here and take a look at ratings. I am 855 to my opponent's 857, so only off by about 2 rating points here at the start of the match. And let's go ahead and hop right into it. We're going to do the rock, paper, scissors, and we do end up losing. And of course, my opponent is going to go first with the combo deck that he is playing. Opening hands, here we have Hound, Card, Turbo, Tomborg, Nib, and Wheel to his Doppel Warrior, the Escatter, Dawnwalker, Effect Veiler, Junk Converter, and Psyframe Gear Gamma. Hashtag semi-limit this card because it's actually more powerful than Max C. Just kidding. Anyway, so he's going to go ahead and go first here and lead with Junk Converter. It's basically kind of like a Win the Wind Channeler, but for just like Synchro decks and Synchron decks. He's going to go ahead and pitch an Effect Veiler. So I see that and I'm like, all right, you know, we already know what we're playing against. I already know how fragile this deck is, and it is so fragile. Like, any interruption on Junk Speeder or a Nibiru afterwards is pretty much just always like a handshake or a turn skip, it seems like. He's going to activate the Scatter Dawnwalker. It's going to special summon itself and the Ant from the deck. I think he's going to go ahead and Synchro 8 into Chaos Ruler, which I was not expecting for this deck to be playing it, but I guess it's a Synchro monster, and it's a really good one, so I guess it also makes sense. And he's going to go ahead and, I think, take the Nibiru here, and I think this also has a graveyard effect. A lot of these cards end up having graveyard effects as well. So we'll go ahead and take the Cyber Synchron. No, I definitely remember him taking the Nibiru here. So he's going to take the Nib, and then he's going to activate the Stardust Synchron Engrave, which says, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you contribute 1 monster, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, you can add special monster in the extra deck for this turn, except for Synchro monsters. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Stardust Dragon in its text. So really, really good card there. So he's going to tribute off the Chaos Ruler, which is also now an extender in the graveyard by banishing Light and Dark. He'll activate Stardust Synchron, and he's going to go ahead and chain Doppel Warrior to that as well. So we'll go ahead and search Stardust Illumination. Send a Stardust monster from your deck to the graveyard, or if you control Stardust Dragon or a Synchro monster that lists Stardust Dragon as text, you can special summon it instead. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Stardust monster you control. Cost, increase or decrease its level by 1 until the end of this turn. So pretty okay card. I wish Speedroids would get some cards like that. He's going to go ahead and activate the Illumination, and going to go ahead and send the Stardust Trail. If a monster control is tributed, except in the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. If a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust Synchro monster is Synchro summoned using this card as material, you can special summon 1 Stardust token. Level 1, light 0/0. Luckily not a tuner. You can activate the graveyard effect, lower its level by 1. And yeah, so my opponent's like Nib 100%, like getting super cocky that he knows what a hand trap I have. But yeah, I mean, I think if I Nib him there, he would get to summon this, and then Chaos Ruler also comes back potentially. And outside of that, I honestly don't know what he does. Once per turn, you can target 1 level 4 lower monster you control. Use level by its original level until the end of the turn. Your monster or monsters in the extra monster zone would be destroyed by battle card effect. You can banish the card from the graveyard instead. That doesn't really do anything in the graveyard either. But yeah, I'm pretty much just waiting for the Junk Speeder because this card is absolutely absurd. Like, just read this card and you realize how insane it is. So he's going to go ahead and spec out up to 5. He's also going to get the Doppel Warrior effect to spec out the 2 tokens. And he's going to summon out another Stardust Synchron, a Junk Synchron, and a Cybers Synchron. And as my opponent has predicted, I do have the Nib. And he just goes, of course, so obvious. Like, I don't know why you have to type those things in the chat. Like, it just seems like a waste of time and energy. But Defense middle, and big surprise, he ends up like skipping his turn, because like Junk Speeder is like such an obvious choke point, and I assume the deck has ways to play around interruptions on Junk Speeder depending on how well you open. But in my experience playing against this deck, Ash, Veiler, Imperm, Gamma, Nib on this card is just always like pass turn. It's kind of like a big if true deck. If it goes off, it's insane. Makes a really nice end board, but if you get hit hand trap, basically one time the right spot, pass turn. So we're going to draw another Hound here for turn. We're going to go ahead and lead with the Ultra Hound. And my opponent tries the Gamma, even though he has a token on field, but he remembers that he cannot. So we're going to go ahead and continue with our play here. Activating the Duplicate, targeting the Hound, and we're going to go ahead and summon the Duplicate. And I decide to go ahead and go straight for the Rubber Band Shooter here. And I also know my opponent has Nibiru in hand. Which, if I'm being totally honest, I may or may not forget about slightly, and I don't respect the Nib in his hand as much as I should have. But we're already on summon. I think this is summon 3. And as it stands, I don't really have a true way to 100% do anti-Nibiru, but I have to rely on the fact that I have, you know, Wheel and Tom in hand and all that stuff. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and lead now with our 4th summon on the Marble Machine. And we're going to go ahead and search. We're going to go ahead and search the Duke. And then we're going to go ahead and pitch here. So, like, this is something I shouldn't have done. What I should have done here is... This is actually a tough decision to be able to make. Because if I spec Car Turbo, that's my 5th summon, I make Hagoita. But I don't do anything past that because I don't have Duke access in Grave. And I don't really have a play to make from there except burning Tekatomborg. And then I guess at that point, if he nibs on the summon of Tekatomborg, I could like wheel pitch the Duke, and then still make like the Crystal Wing, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. And I guess I know the nib's coming anyways, so like, yeah, and I roll a 5 here, which is kind of insane. And I'm shocked my opponent hasn't nibbed me yet. Because once I get the Hagoid on field, it's pretty much already too late. And then we're going to go ahead and spec Car Turbo here. And I think this is where he decides to throw the rock at me. Yeah, so he's going to go ahead and nib. And it's going to be like a 28, 58, 68, 7,000 attack token, I believe. Yeah, since his token over there I don't think has... Well, it doesn't... It's original attack and tokens are 0/0. Yeah, I think I forgot the 200 there from the Marble Machine. But it should be a 7,000 attack token, and then Marble Machine has... Yeah, so it should be 7,029. Yeah, so we're going to just Duke here, bring back Car Turbo, bring back Hagoita, and now I go ahead and decide to summon out the Tekatomborg. So I guess doing it this way worked out. It just would have made a difference if my opponent would have decided to nib earlier. But he didn't have a real reason to nib. There was no, like, threats on field. But once he saw the Hagoita and the Car Turbo, which at that point is already too late, then he notices that a threat is on the way. He notices that Crystal Wing is coming and that he has limited time to actually go ahead and drop the nib. So, yeah, I guess it works out here. We're going to go ahead and Piper for 2. And what do we find here? Find a Recovery and another Hound. Finding the Recovery is kind of bonkers. Because we're going to be able to make a Crystal Wing and a Shen here. So there's the Crystal Wing, Recovery back the Hagoita. We're going to go ahead and make Shen now. And, yeah, this is not going to be game. Yeah, no, this is not going to be game. I mean, I could have punched for a lot of damage by doing the Shen Crystal Wing thing, but, like, there's no reason to do that. He'll take 38. Or no, he's not going to take 38 because I didn't Car Turbo. And then we're going to... He tries to Gamma the Shen, which is totally fine. He's just like, nope. I'm like, obviously I have a Crystal Wing, bro. I'm going to negate that. And then we're going to go ahead and pass turn. He draws a Junk Converter for turn. And he's going to go ahead and start with the Chaos Ruler, which I do negate here because I just don't want him to make any plays. He normals the Junk Converter here. And this card in your hand or graveyard, you can contribute a monster, special from this card. So, like, he could technically... use the start a Synchron effect in Grave. That's something he could do. And then also possibly use this as well. Like, he does have decent, like, and this is also me just being actually unfamiliar with the Synchron deck. Like, I know Junk Speeder is a good choke point, but outside of, like, what else it has as extenders, I really don't know. So I'm kind of just in the process here learning. And this Junk Converter also should be banished, which I do remind to banish it for him. And then he, like, banishes his Chaos Ruler for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why he thought I banished the Ruler. I didn't. I banished the Junk Converter for him. And then he gets the Stardust Trail here because something was tributed. So right now he has the Search off Synchron, which I don't know if he has another Stardust spell or trap in the deck. I don't know what level 8 Synchro he could have made there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he had a level 8 Synchro play there. Like, he could have done something else possibly, but I guess he just decided to go ahead and scoop him up. And we're going to go into a game 2. And my opponent is going to go first. And I did side in a lot of combo hate here, but the only going second card I see here is actually a Lightning Storm. And it looks like my opponent opened up pretty insane. Junk Converter, Rhoda, Overtake, Synchron, and Droplet. And he's going to go ahead and just combo here. He's saying Big Think. You know, start with the Junk Converter and pitching itself in Synchron to go ahead and add Junk Synchron. And it just looks like he opened up like the absolute stones here. I would have to imagine this is like, it seems like a pretty cracked opening. I know Overtake is also pretty good. And I would have loved to have gammaed this Junk Speeder, but you know, it is what it is. And I don't know, I think he has the chain block for it here. Cards sent the graveyard single material. You can target one tuner monster, tuner your graveyard special summon. So yeah, he has the Junk Converter to be able to actually chain block the Speeder here. So we couldn't Gamma, we couldn't Ash it. But obviously still Valor impermanent. But it's at least nice to know that they can actually chain block the Junk Speeder if they open up like, you know, Converter Synchron. They have a way to go ahead and search the Junk Synchron, bring that back, and then be able to go into the Junk Speeder that way with a nice chain block. So he gets that body back out on the field and then resolves the Junk Speeder and summons out 4 here. Well, 3 off the Speeder and then 1 off the Converter. And then he's going to go ahead and get Synchron effect, and that's going to add Illumination. And then he's going to go ahead and Synchro into Crystal Wing, so very, very easy Crystal Wing access there. And then he's going to go ahead and activate Illumination. That's going to dump the Stardust Trail. And then he's going to activate Rhoda. This is going to go ahead and search out the Doppel Warrior, I believe. And, you know, just basically combo here. He's going to tribute off the other Stardust Synchron to go ahead and summon the Synchron. And then it's going to bring back Trail, activate Cyber Synchron. And it's going to go ahead and target one level 4 lower monster you control, increase the level by its original level. Oh, yeah, so this is going to become level 2. And he's going to go ahead and Synchro 6 for Charge Warrior. Draw a card. And I believe you can just make Baron here. And he's also going to get Trail effect to summon a token. Draws into a Droplet. Synchro for Herald, and then Synchro for Baron. And set Droplet, I assume, but he's going to activate the Synchro Overtake, revealing the Accel Synchron, bringing, or no, Junk Warrior, not Accel Synchron. He's going to make Accel Synchron here in a moment. Trigger the Doppel, and he's going to go ahead and Synchro 5 into Accel Synchron. And he takes a good while to think here on the Doppel. Big think. I'm mashing the next play button here. So he is going to Doppel. And, yeah, so, like, he doesn't do anything past this. And the reason I think he did this possibly is because he could, like, quick synchro with the Accel Synchron. I don't know exactly what he would synchro into. I know he could make, like, a level 7 here. We could possibly go for, like, a Black Rose play. But I don't know if Black Rose is just 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner, or if it's, like, 1 tuner plus 1 plus non-tuner. I don't know if Black Rose is worded like that. Like Baron 1 plus, but this says this also says 1 plus, and this says 1 plus as well. But some do not say. Yeah, so he's just going to set the Droplet and just pass turn. Then we draw, of course, we draw a Nib as the 6, right? What better timing to see Nibiru? It's just unfortunate. If we would have, like, swapped here, you know, seeing the Nib as the 5th, in the 5th, opening 5, and then Lightning Storm as the 6th would have been kind of cracked. Did not mean to hit the fast forward button there, but I lead with the Lightning Storm, obviously, because I have to, and that's going to burn the Herald. And, I think for a good moment on what to do, I lead with the Primitive Butterfly. And I realize I played this a little incorrectly. I could have led with Primitive Butterfly and tried to attack into his Herald and run it over because we're at 1200 to its 1000. But, like, maybe he would have burned Droplet there and damage step. Like, sending another droplet or off the SL, but that's kind of like a waste of a droplet. But then I also turn off my own lightning storm. So, like, it's kind of a give and take. Yeah, I don't know. And we go and activate the Tekatomborg here, and he is going to negate that, I believe. Yeah, summon is fine. Think he does negate with the Crystal Wing. And then I really don't have a play after this, except for just going wheel, pitch, wheel, and he negates the Baron. And obviously the Nib in hand is not going to help us out there too much, so we're going to go ahead and go into the almighty game 3. We will decide to go first here. I also notice he's on 42 cards, and his opening hand is the Fire Ant to Scatter, and then the Elstorm, the Dawn Walker, the Doppel Warrior, and the Psychic Soldier. We have Duplicate, Marble Machine, Butterfly, Plane, and Recovery. So we opened up actually cracked here. We can play around Nib, and we already have an interruption in hand and plenty of ways to keep extending with the help of Plane and Recovery. And one Elstorm, not going to be too big of a deal here. I think I unfortunately play into Elstorm, which feels so bad. I misclicked there on the Plane instead of the Marble Machine. So we go ahead and add the Tekatomborg. Classic line. One of my favorite things to do with the Butterfly is, you know, tag into Piper. And then we're going to go ahead and Piper for 2. I could have chain blocked here, but that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have been my 5th summon. I would have walked right into Nib. So I wanted to hold the Plane, even if it means I'm going to get 1 less Excavate off Piper. And we do reveal, what do we reveal here? Ash and Terratop. So take the Ash, because like we Ash that Junk Speeder, GG, as long as he doesn't chain block. And then we're going to Butterfly to increase its level. And we're going to go ahead and Synchro 10 into Baron, which I unfortunately put into attack, playing into the Lightning Storm. And on the summon, we're going to activate the Rubber Band Plane here. And then my opponent, I don't know why I thought I couldn't use that, but maybe because he thought I used it earlier, but I clearly typed misclick. And then we're going to activate Rubber Band Shooter here, banishing a 6 because I have the Recovery. And I already used Marble Machine, so there's no sense in trying to get Marble Machine again here. So we're going to go ahead and add the Hound. We get the Terratop to the grave, which is like best outcome here because we have the Recovery. Additional normal on the Hound. And this is going to go ahead and dump. What do I dump here? We dump Duke. And we're going to Recovery back the Terratop. And Terratop's going to go ahead and search us here. I believe a Car Turbo. And yeah, we're going to add Car Turbo here. And yeah, I was going to see if there's something else I could have done differently there, but yeah, the thing that ends up being a little awkward here is that I end up just leaving like a Terratop on the field. And I could have Shingoed straight for Shen Shen there, but I wanted to get the draw off the Charge Warrior. And what do we draw here? Draw a Wheel, and then we Duke out for the Car Turbo, and then we go ahead and Synchro into the Shen Shen, and we end up passing turn there with a set Duplicate and Ash. So pretty stacked opening. My opponent draws the Stardust Trail here. Doesn't look like he opened up too crazy. I have to burn the Lightning Storm, or the negate on the Lightning Storm, unfortunately, because I just didn't summon my monsters in attack. I suppose, like, obviously would have still fired the Lightning Storm if I didn't put my monsters in. Or yeah, he would have still fired if I would have put everything in defense, obviously. But then I would have lost the Duplicate, which, maybe I still burn the Baron negate on. Probably not, right? That would probably, yeah, I would just let the Duplicate go, I guess, at that point. He's going to activate the Dawn Walker here, and, yeah. So, this is a little bit of a sketchy play. Yeah, I wanted to read the Dawn Walker here, just to double check, make sure it, he's like, oh, of course you can Ash, but yeah. I wanted to do this just to go ahead and make him go minus here. So he's like, so you're trying to lose basically, but like I have the Duplicate to stop him from like getting into like any synchro plays, which also feels kind of good, and also the Shen Shen's probably gonna hurt him quite a bit as well. Yeah, so probably shouldn't have Ash that, but that was gonna get him access to Chaos Ruler, which is kind of an insane extender. So like I don't know why he's like acting like that was such a terrible Ash. Especially when he doesn't know what I have set. Like, it could be anything for all he knows. This could be, like, a Judgment. Whatever. Like, he got a little cocky there. And, yeah. And then he says that his deck is, or my deck is a worse version of his, which I could not disagree with more. Because his deck loses basically to one Ash or Valor on his Junk Speeder. And I'm like, why are you so mad, bro? And he just blames it that he drew trash. And I'm like, well, that's what you get for playing a ton of bricks in your main deck. Literally, like an actual ton of bricks. So we take that dub there when you go up to 868. And he goes down to 839. And feels good. But yeah, a little bit of a different deck to play against there. Kind of an interesting deck. You know, if it goes off, it goes off. But, you know, if you have that one interruption on the junk speeder or the nib afterwards, you're kind of just chilling. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. And as always, WinterKill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Tweeter0226, Ponystar, Cadillacs84, Keith Sidgers, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your extremely generous support of this channel.